Welcome to the tutorial on Shunn formatting for novel. Formatting for a novel is quite a bit different than for short story, and I already have a video on doing the short story. Now before I start, the first thing I'm going to say is check the submission requirements. More than likely you're here because they said Shunn formatting. But when you go to a different, don't assume that they want Shunn as well. Always check the submission requirements. Let's begin. Check your font. Font for Shunn is either Times New Roman or Carrier New. Those are the only two choices you have. The other thing is font size is 12. There is no other option on that. While we're here, we'll go to page layout, check your margins, make sure they're 1 inch all the way around, and your size is 8.5 and 11. And you're wondering what difference does it make? It's electronic. Because quite often, if your work is accepted, they will print it out. And we'll get more about that later. So don't try to fudge on those either, saying it doesn't make any difference. All right, in the upper left, first thing they want is your name. Then they want your address. And they want your city, state. And they want your zip. Underneath that, they want a phone number. And finally, an email. Now, if you have any awards, or you belong to an organization, a professional organization, that pertains to writing, that's where this would go. So we'll say that we're an active member, and put a comma there in case you have more than one, of Science Fiction Writers of America. And then awards, we'll say that I have a nebula. No, I don't. But I can say it on here. All right. Took care of that part. Now we want a title. So we'll put in title. And skip a space and your byline. Now notice I'll put in a lowercase. Word will change it. Oh. Normally, it's lowercase, but they won't shoot you if it's uppercase. We need to center this. Again, make sure that your paragraphs are in no indent. On the indent line, on the first line, no indent. All right. So we'll go to home, and we will center that. Now we need to change our view of things, and we're going to go from page width to one page. And let you see the whole page at one time. We're going to hit enter and bring that down to the middle of the page. Then from there, we're going to do something in advance, knowing if we don't, we're going to have a problem. First, we'll go back to one page, page width, apologies, so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to enter down until I hit a new page. So I'm going to go back up. And I'm going to go into page layout and go to breaks. Now, depending on which version of Word you have, some of these may be in a different place. So in breaks, we want to do a next page, insert a section break, and start the new section on the next page. Easy enough. Why do we do that? This separates these two pages, so they're no longer linked in any form. And that's important for your headers and your footers. On your first page, which I will call the title page, we're going to activate the header footer. You can do that just by clicking up on the header, and it'll also give you your footer. We'll go into the footer, and over here on the far right side, we're going to give them a word count. Again, word's going to mess with me, and I'm going to say it's 8,000 or 83,550 words. Oh, that was a good choice. Let's try a comma instead. Now this about is rounded to the nearest 50 words. Now on the issue of counts, usually there's not a problem in novels about word counts, but if they have a word count minimum maximum and you don't meet that, don't think, hey, I've got a great story, they'll take it anyway. Not going to happen. All right, now let's scroll down, and you'll see that I have about connected to the upper. So we need to check this. And notice that in the header footer tab, when I clicked on this, it shows link to previous. We need to turn that off. And then I can delete this. And on my first page, it's still there. Second, any subsequent pages, it won't be. That link to previous, I'm telling you, it can mess you up big time. But you definitely got to have the different first page selected. All right. Excuse me. Going back to the text, we are now done with the first page. So we'll go to what is going to be the body. And we'll just start off with the header because it's at the top and that's where we are. We're going to go into home and we're going to write justify and put in a name, put in a keyword for the title. I love Windows. And a page number. Don't type page. They know what this number's for. Now, while I'm here, I need to make sure that my font and size match. We don't want to get creative. Same thing with the, excuse me. Same thing with the footer. That's going to be the same. Now, to get this page 2, depending on which version of the word that you have, depends on where your numbers are. Usually in the header footer tab, you have a page number. Go to current position, go to standard, and that's page 1. It's actually the second page, but because we put that break in there, this is, as far as it knows, when I do a page number, this is page 1. And for novel formatting, that's what we want. We don't want this to start at page 2. If you did not put in a section break, this is going to show up as page 2, whether or not it shows up in the header at the top or not. All right, moving along. Now we need to put in some text. Magic text. Your text needs to be double spaced. So we'll just go right on up. And for some reason it didn't want to take, so we'll try it again. And we will tell it double space. Most writers, and I'm one of them, when we write in the single. We don't write double spaced. And transferring it over, it's going to still be in single, so we'll need to change it to double, and that's how easy it is to do. I know that some of the things I'm covering seem pretty simple and basic, and everybody should know them, but that's not always the case. Now, while we're here, I'm going to cover something that is not Shunn, but it deals with novel writing that not everybody knows. Your first sentence of your first paragraph after a chapter heading, does not get an indent. Simple. Their logic is that the first sentence after a chapter heading is obviously a new paragraph, so we don't need the indent saying it's a new paragraph. That would be saying new paragraph, new paragraph. That's redundant. It's insulting to the reader. I read way back when they were indented and it didn't bug me. Somebody got hoity-toity. All right, moving on. The other thing that you want to do is go to the very end of your document and type end. Now this can be left, it can be center, it can be anywhere on there. The idea is that in these days of the electronic transfers, if you have a story that has an ambiguous ending that you wanted to make the reader think, okay, well, what could happen? The person that's reading your work for your acceptance is going to wonder the same thing. By putting end, it's telling them, hey, you got all the electronic transfer, nothing got left off. So just stick in end as a courtesy. You won't see it as a requirement anywhere, but it's a courtesy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much all there is to formatting for a novel, except for one small thing. I had to scroll back up here to get to it. Again, we're going to go into View. We're going to go to One Page, and we're going to take the first page and scroll it about halfway down. There's a reason for this. Again, they tend to print these out. When they do, they use this blank space up here above the chapter heading to put in instructions for the layout person and the printer. They use this double space, the blank between the double space, because remember, it's on paper for them now. They use that to put in their edit marks, any comments, word suggestions, anything like that. That's where that goes. So, that's it. I hope it's been helpful. Have a good day.